What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Let's get into it. NBA playoffs, Thunder and Spurs, Game 6. Spurs win 118 to 91 as they force a Game 7, which will be tomorrow. They easily win by 27. Big game from Victor Wembanyama, 28 points, 10 boards, and 3 blocks. Big game from Wembanyama. He was vintage Wembanyama last night, really putting the Spurs on his back and doing what he does best. OKC. Shai Alexander was really bad last night. 15 points, just 6 of 8, 18 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. He's been really bad in this series, honestly. He's only averaging 24 points a game, which for a guy who's a two-time running MVP is average over 30 for 4 years in a row. That's not a great number. He's shooting, I believe, 39% from the field, like 26% from 3. So he's been pretty bad. And look at some of these other guys. Luke Dort was just 2 of 11 and 1 of 9 from 3. Jared McCain got the start once again. He was only 4 of 11. No one on the bench really did anything. The Thunder shot just 37% from the field, 25% from 3. Kenrich Williams was just 2 of 8. The other Jalen Williams was just 2 of 6. J-Dub wasn't particularly effective in this game. He actually came off the bench, only played 10 minutes, had just 1 shot attempt. He's very much so not healthy right now. So, but Game 7 is tomorrow. Looks like for the Thunder, I'd be a little worried. J-Dub is clearly, I'm not even sure if he's 50% healthy. He did not look good last night. I don't think we're going to see A.J. Mitchell. He's been hurt. We'll see what happens. And Chet Holmgren hasn't looked good. He's been getting just dogged by Wemby on both ends of the court, which is, nothing to sneeze at. Wemby's obviously a special talent, but Chet Holmgren's a guy who's supposed to be an all-level player, first-team all-defense guy. And he has not shown it in this series. And for the Spurs, if they get that version of Wembanyama, they should win, honestly. If not, it's going to be a lot tougher. But Spurs win. Game 7 will be tomorrow at 8 o'clock on NBC, Game 7 in Oklahoma City. The anti-tanking proposal that the NBA had proposed has passed. The owners voted on it. They voted yes. The only team that I think voted no to that was Memphis Grizzlies, so it got enough votes. So what does this mean? It's going to be a 3-2-1 process. The bottom 3 teams are going to have 2 lottery balls. The 4th through 10th worst teams are going to have, I think, 3 lottery balls, and then the 11th through 16th worst teams, because now lottery is being expanded to 16 teams. So it's so 2 other teams are being added as well. It was always the 10 teams that didn't make the play-in, and then the 2 teams that and the 4 teams that lost in the play-in. Now it's going to be whoever wins the 9-10 game, no matter what, they're going to get the one in each conference will get into the NBA lottery as well. 11 through 16 will have 1 lottery ball. So I don't love that now the bottom 3 teams have worse odds at top 3 pick and not at the first pick than a team that's the 10th worst team. But they have to do something. I mean, we had 10 teams taken by February this year. Just pathetic. They had to do something. And I'm the first thing from an Adam Silver guy. We're actually going to get Redbox is going to join us. Haven't talked to him. I think it's been a week or 2. What's going on, Redbox?
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
Oh, I got echoed back at myself there. That was great. I'm good. What have I missed so far?
Not a whole lot. I briefly recapped Spurs and Thunder from last night. Talked about how we got Game 7 tomorrow, and I'm talking about the anti-tank proposal that the NBA just passed.
Did you get to salary cap today too, or is that another show?
Yes.
I came on the right show.
Yes, you did. Came to the right place.
Not that I stopped you.
No, it wasn't really a rant. I was just talking about it was just the overall analysis of that I don't love that now. The 10th worst team in the NBA starting next year will have better odds at the first pick or a top three pick than the worst team in the NBA. But the league had to do something. Tanking's been out of control. You had 10 teams tanking by February this year.
It's not a solution I would have proposed in any other league or
Right.
any other system. Like the NHL, the way they work, right? They seem to have the draft lottery more or less figured out.
Yeah.
But there's also not a tanking epidemic in the NHL.
No.
And I think this was this penalizing of the bottom five teams, which I'm sure is what you're referring to. Especially with the play-in now, which I mean that's a whole other debate that people seem to love it. I not so.
I'm with you. I'm not a huge fan.
I think we've lost that battle.
Yeah.
It means you're always going to be playing for something.
Yeah.
Which has been a problem
for a while.
And maybe the play-in was actually a part of that, fixing. But I think, in general, it was probably the best of the worst options.
Yeah, there were some other proposals that just made no sense. I forgot what all of them were. We had some talking about flattening the odds and taking your what your record was for the last 2 or 3 years, which is just flawed. Some people were saying, oh, the bottom 10 team should have a tournament to determine who gets the number 1 pick. It's just like that one was probably my least favorite.
See why you might do. I think the flattening wouldn't actually fix anything.
No, it would not. It would do nothing.
Because as soon as you were locked out of, I'm assuming play-in teams are counted in the draft lottery, losing play-in teams.
Yeah, and it's now we expanded it to 16 teams.
As soon as you were out of the running for 10th place, you could just tank.
Exactly, and that was the problem. Once you knew you were like, all right, we really have a shot to make the play-in. Remember, 20 of the 30 teams make the play-in, so if you're not good enough to make the play-in, you're pretty bad. Like you said, teams give up because they're better off finishing with the 7th worst record than the 10th worst record.
And what this penalizing the bottom 5 does is it makes it so that if you're intentionally trying to finish bottom 5 now, you're gonna have a harder time rebuilding. Good,
yeah, and yeah, and like you said, we've seen some teams, have the 1st, 2nd, 3rd worst record and maybe get pick 5 or pick 6. Now there's a chance you might have pick 10 or 12.
I mean, credit to San Antonio, I guess. They played the system very well.
Yeah.
And now they're in game 7 of the...
And they got Dylan Harper last year.
Yeah. They're in game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
It wasn't like it didn't work as a strategy.
Yeah, teams have done it for a long time. I mean, I personally think there's a couple of lotteries that the NBA definitely, pull some strings on. I think Flag last year might have been one of them. Wembanyama could have been one of them. I don't know. I have no evidence to back up either side. But
very cautious, entertaining those.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope because you can't prove it either way. But just some of them some of them are fishy.
Glaringly obvious ones, I'm very, very skeptical to entertain.
There hasn't been a lot of lotteries that have it. It's not every year. This lottery, they get the 1st pick to the Wizards. You're not rigging a lottery for the Wizards. I'm sorry. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, they have an ancient beat up Anthony Davis, Trae Young, and God knows what else. They could use a player like Adrian DeMantis. You're not rigging the lottery. They would rig the lottery. It would make more sense for them, so that the Lakers get Luka Doncic. So when LeBron retires, the LA Lakers don't fall into a pit of misery. It makes sense to rig it for the Spurs because they're a bigger market. The Washington Wizards, the league, I don't think gives a crap about.
Cares what happens in Washington.
No, no, exactly, no. So, but yeah, that's the draft lottery. Whether you like it or hate it, the proposal has been finalized. It will take effect next season.
Yep.
And now we can talk about the salary cap with Major League Baseball.
Because I've got a lot to say, and it's not going to be popular with anybody.
All right, that makes for good TV. So I'm happy. So the MLB Players Association made an offer. They've been going back and forth. They finally started going back and forth. They proposed a salary cap. It was $245 million, a floor of $171 million. The league, of course, turned it down. First of all, you better buckle up. This is not going to be something that they're going to like find common ground in the next month. This is going to take a long time. I'd be shocked if we don't head into a lockout next year. I'm hoping we have baseball next year because I'm not sure if we're going to, but that's I'm sure we'll get into that with Red Bucks in a minute. And that's honestly another story. I'm not sure if this is going to work how people think it's going to. I just look at I feel like baseball outside the last, I guess, 2 years with the Dodgers has had a lot of parity, and the other leagues, maybe not the NHL. NHL does typically a lot of parity, but
Yeah.
football and basketball have pretty strict salary caps, especially basketball. Football, there's a lot of ways around it with you restructuring contracts and converting deals into this for teams to scratch out cap space. NBA, you really can't do that, and they don't have as much parity. And baseball doesn't have a cap, and they typically have had a lot of parity outside like the last 2 years. So I'm not sure what the cap's going to do. I think we need a salary floor before we need a salary cap. And if we're getting one, we're gonna get the other. Also, right now, there's 6 teams that are above the cap. So like, what would they be able to do? And there's teams that are below the floor, so they would have to get to that number. So you might have to grandfather some contracts in. So it's going to be complicated. It's going to take a while. And to me, I have a hard time seeing this honestly not taking a full year for them to really figure out everything. So we're not back at the table 4 or 5 years from now, like we are now. Even when they had that mini lockout, what 2022, whenever it was, I think it was pretty apparent to a true baseball fan. There's still a lot of issues. We're going to be back at the table in a few years, and here we are. So I'm not sure if it's going to help. Whenever people say, "Oh, we need a cap," but Dodgers don't buy anybody. Look, the Angels were such a mess all the time; didn't want to sign there, so the Dodgers swooped in. The Red Sox just gave the Dodgers Mookie Betts. It's like you can just have a whole, you can just have a whole time outfielder. The Giants have Blake Snell on their team. They're like, we don't need to resign him. The Dodgers just swooped him in and grabbed him. The Rays said you can just have Tyler Glass now because I don't know, just because. And I don't think you can blame the Dodgers for just running the organization properly.
So you and I tend to have similar philosophy on these things. I think we agree more than I initially thought we would.
Yeah.
I am 100% unequivocally opposed to a salary cap in the current plan. I think MLB is the one league where if a team so desires, they can build the absolute best team possible. No restriction. That is how pro sports should be, and I think the rest of pro sports in North America should follow their lead. I mean, of course, there's no salary cap in pro soccer in Europe. It's not a thing. There's financial fair play regulations, but they're quite different. And the whole idea, small market, medium market teams aren't going to be able to compete. One, bullshit.
Thank you.
Even if it's not, I think the players have a relatively sound plan, which they outlined in part yesterday to combat this. So first, they say a competitive integrity tax, which of course would work in conjunction with a salary floor. And essentially, what it would do is it would penalize teams who cannot or will not spend above a minimum, which is a huge problem in the MLB. So many of these small medium market teams, they get their revenue sharing checks, which is another thing I'll get to in a moment, and they pocket the money, and then they whine and complain that they don't have enough money.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, that's just not that. It's a distortion of reality, and if we were able to implement a salary floor where you do have to spend that money, combined with their next point, strings attached revenue sharing. Essentially, the MLB is not going to just be cutting a blank check to the Tampa Bay Rays for nothing.
Right.
There will be certain obligations, primarily around payroll. That's where it needs to go. Where the teams will have to show they're going to spend before they receive the money. And then the third one, and I think this is probably the most important of all of them, playoff bonuses to those smaller market teams who actually make it, provided directly from a central fund maintained by MLB. That is the incentive. More money the owners can put away. The players didn't say anything about strings attached to those bonuses. More money the owners can take in, and it incentivizes them to invest in their teams, invest in prospects, take some risks. Right now, we don't see any small market teams really doing that.
No.
And they say it's because they can't. I and the players say it's because they won't.
Yeah, and like teams can, like the teams that aren't spending money, that they can. They have the ability to sign these guys. Can a team like the Pirates maybe pay Ohtani that contract? Maybe not. But like they can sign guys. Like it's allowed. It's happened. So I don't. And like you said, like the big market teams that spend and they pay these crazy luxury tax bills like the Mets, the Yankees, and the Dodgers do. Like that money, like you said, it gets spread around the league and it creates more revenue for the league, which is why spending money is good for baseball, regardless of what some random butthurt fan says or what even Rob Manfred says.
There's a disincentive to go absolutely mad.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect system.
No.
I mean, I think something that also needs to be addressed is fixing the way gate revenues are shared right now. How familiar you are with the 48% rule, but essentially 48% of all team revenues is put into a central fund that the MLB distributes equitably around the league. That's insane. At least a team should be able to keep, especially in those smaller markets, especially in somewhere like Tampa, where they're probably not going to be anyway in 5 years, or in Cleveland, or in Pittsburgh, or wherever the A's end up, probably Vegas. They should be able to keep 70 to 80% of what they bring in. But right now, they're keeping 52%, and that's a lot more meaningless than the Yankees keeping 52%.
Yes. A lot more.
Who I think a floor, which unfortunately Boston is kind of right in the middle of where, right in between everybody's proposals, and this wouldn't affect them whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think a floor would be great. It would finally force our front office to start coughing up a few dollars to maintain our best players.
Right.
But the floor would need to be higher for that to happen, which isn't realistic. I mean, there's obviously, you're not. I think a floor would have to be It would have to be like a progressive tax, I think. I don't think you can just say, hey, we're going to institute a hard. I think the players wanted a, what was it, 271?
Something like that.
No. I mean, there's some teams that aren't going to be able to put
No.
that up.
Right.
But that's the whole point of negotiations. These are the first proposals.
Right, yeah. Like I said, there's gonna be a lot of back and forth. It's gonna take months.
It might even take a season.
It might take a full year, you're right. It might take a full year, at least.
I hope to work a deal out to prevent a salary.
Right, of course.
Hope the players deny a season to MLB because that's going to send a message. And I don't think one, it will send a message, and two, I don't think MLB can actually afford to lose a season. So it's going to be all the more incentive for the owners to move in the players' direction on a lot of these issues.
You're right. Like people keep saying, like, oh well, if it takes a season, if that's what it takes, isn't it worth? Like, no, you're right, Redbox. The league, I think you're right. I don't think they can afford to lose a season. So they have to figure this out. The lockout, if the CBA ends at the end of December and then it's a lockout, so they better figure this out, otherwise they're in trouble.
Started negotiations.
Yeah, they should have done this a little sooner.
This should have been in this should have, at the very least, ideas should have been starting to be floated around at winter meetings this year.
Yeah, I don't know why they started now. Like you've known about, or a lockout's probably coming since the Dodgers won in October. Like you said, why in the winter meeting was this not brought up?
Well, and I think the owners, if I mean, it would work in the players' benefit if they started negotiating earlier because right now, and I suppose either side can do this. They can hold the prospect over the other of no season next year, and you know what? To their credit, the MLB has been doing about all it can, and then maybe a little too much some to attempt to save itself from itself.
Yeah.
Over the past couple of years, with the increases in the pace of play, with the ABS, Man, I thought I was going to say the pitch clock was the greatest innovation in modern baseball history. Yeah. ABS might be giving it a run for its money.
Worked.
Like that, it might take. I don't know if it takes more time off. The time it does take off is time that fans probably notice more in real time. Of course, you're going to know. Of course, you're going to notice when the game takes 2 hours instead of 3 points. But you don't notice it until it's over. When the challenges only take 10 seconds, it's an immediate whoa.
Mm. Yeah.
So the MLB is not doing nothing to keep themselves afloat. Mm-hmm. Just worry that they either A, saw this coming and are using the lack of a negotiating period to their benefit, or B, just don't think the players are going to be as resolute as they say they are going to be. And I disagree. I think the players are absolutely going to be because the contracts that are being handed out right now are huge, and the players want more. They want more than the 50-50 split that they're getting, which I think is totally fair.
Yes.
The owners proposed a 50-50 split in their latest deal, and the players are like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? I mean, it all boils down to this, too. That money is not going to disappear if we just put a salary cap in tomorrow. That money is still going to be in the system, or at the very least, it's going to be in the pockets of the owners of the 30 teams. And why not pay that out? And the players have said this as well, to those putting in the work.
Yeah. The guys who are taking the risk on the field.
Exactly. I have taken just an absolute load of flack. I am the black sheep and then some in my friend group over this. They all love the fact that there's probably going to be a salary cap.
Yeah, you and I are definitely in the minority for sure. In fact, when you at the top of this, when you said like, "Oh yeah, my thing is controversial," I had a feeling we were going to agree for the most part because I know I'm also in the minority as well.
The fans understand that last.
I think you're right. They're not they don't have the full picture of like what this lockout could is going to be and what it could do to baseball.
These are not going to mean that your ticket prices
No.
come down by
Right.
30% or even at all. The MLB is still by far the most affordable pro sport to go to. It's not even close.
By a long shot. It's not remotely close.
Doesn't have a salary cap, and I'd say that the attendance figures are roughly comparable or even maybe a little bit smaller than the NFL.
Probably.
Like in terms of raw numbers at games, if every game is a sellout, the NFL can charge way more and still fill seats.
Yes.
And the MLB is charging considerably less than that, and they're not filling seats.
Right.
You know? So I don't. We already have a good deal. We already have the best deal as fans. I think we're gonna get. What more do you want? That is reasonable. It's gonna happen.
Absolutely. So yes, that is our MLB Players Association salary cap segment. To finish off, we're going to shift back to basketball a little bit here. I'm going to continue my NBA offseason preview series. Three teams are going to cover today are the Charlotte Hornets, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Orlando Magic. So first off, let's talk about the Charlotte Hornets. So they had a nice little year this year, really strong second half, ended up making the play-in. You do lose in the second play-in game to Orlando. But you got a nice young core. Knuckle, I honestly thought should have been Rookie of the Year. That kid shot the lights out. Still just 21 years old. LaMelo Ball had what I thought was the best year of his career. His three-point shot was as effective as it ever was. We all know what he is as a playmaker. Brandon Miller just needed to stay healthy. He's still 24 years old. You got Miles Bridges at 28. You have a couple of decent big men in most of Diabate is only 25. Ryan Kalkbrenner is only 25. Even Sion James is only 24. I think he could be a decent player. So they got a good young core. They don't have a player. They have one guy under contract next year who's over 28 years old, and that's Pat Connaughton, who has a team option for $3.8 million. He obviously isn't really a major part of a team. So they have some money to spend. With the aprons, they have plenty of money until they're significantly under the first apron. If I'm sure, I'm looking to definitely add to this core. You have, I think it's the 14th pick in the draft, so that they have money to spend. So if I'm sure, I am really looking to add to this core because they have a good young core in place. They should only get better. And if I'm sure, I'm looking to really add to this core. The next team we're going to do is the Orlando Magic. So the Magic are in a little bit of a tougher spot. First off, they're still looking for a coach. I heard a week or two ago that Billy Donovan was considered the favorite for the job. We'll see what happens. Orlando, it's difficult when you make a trade that you made for Desmond Bain. You give up 4 unprotected firsts for him, and you lose in the first round. Now you're up 3-1 on Detroit. You don't know what happened from there. You missed 23 shots in a row in Game 6 at home, and then you get blown out in Game 7. I don't really know what you do from here, to be honest. You don't have your own first until 2031. You have Franz Wagner on a big contract, Paolo Banchero on a big contract. You have a lot of big deals. You don't really have any money to spend. You can do like a veteran minimum or two, and whatever exceptions they get, I guess. But they don't have a ton of money to spend, so I'm not sure what you do. I really think that you should trade uh, Jalen Suggs. He's a really good defensive player, but he doesn't give you a whole lot of value offensively. He's got 4 years left on a relatively big deal. I mean, for NBA standards, it's actually not that bad. He's due $32.4 million this coming year, then he'll be around 29, 26 million in the last 3 years on a per year basis. He's still 25, but I don't see him ever bring a whole lot of offensive firepower. I think you try and move him for some better offensive players. And for Banchero and Franz Wagner, I think you run them back one more season. I know the fit isn't fantastic, and Boncaro has definitely flatlined a lot in recent years. But I would like to see if they can bring in a more offensive-minded coach to see what that looks like with this group. But I think you got to move Jalen Suggs. I just don't think there's a reason to have him on the team anymore. As much value as he brings as a perimeter defender, he just doesn't give you enough offensively. You just don't have enough offensive firepower. You brought in Desmond Bain, and it really didn't make a difference. And last team will be the Philadelphia 76ers. So Philly, pretty shocking, coming back down 3-1 to beat the Boston Celtics. Then got swept by the Knicks in embarrassing fashion. And look, they can't trade Joel Embiid. That contract is completely untradeable. He's due roughly $60 million these next 2 years and has a $67 million, almost $68 million player option in 29. He's 32 years old and is hurt about half the year. Paul George is 36 with a lot of injury concerns. He's guaranteed $54 million this year. He's got a player option worth $56.5 million in 2028. So you can't trade those two guys. Of course, you just fired Daryl Morey. So you're trying to bring in, a new president of basketball operations. Like, you got two real good young guards, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Edgecombe was Rookie of the Year finalist. He's still 21. Tyrese Maxey is 26 years old. But other than that, there's just nothing exciting about this team. And maybe they'll look to bring back Kelly Oubre, who's a fine player. Maybe look to bring back Quentin Grimes, who wasn't great this year, but he is still 26 years old. He's shown in the past that he can be a good player in the right system. Maybe, maybe they bring back Andre Drummond as a backup center because Joel Embiid's going to miss probably at least 30 games every year. I don't see him ever being healthy for a full season ever again. I don't think he's ever done that or even gotten close. So I don't see him ever not having an injury, not having an injury plague year ever again. So they're going to need a big behind him. And the only true bigs they have behind him right now is a Dem Bona. Who is that exactly? So I don't know what they do. I mean, they have a little bit of apron space to spend, but they might just have to try and put the best team on paper that they can. Try and build as much depth as they can. It would have helped if Daryl Morey didn't just say, "Oh yeah, the Thunder can just have Jared McCain for free for whatever reason." But I don't know what else they think is going to do. They missed their window years ago. I said it before. The process ended when they blew a 3-2 lead to Boston at home a couple years ago in the second round. So that's done. I'm not sure what they're trying to do, but the best they can do is, like I said, I don't like. I don't think the team should necessarily run it back, but they need to add another player or two and just pray that George and Embiid stay healthy enough to where they're mostly healthy for the postseason. I guess I don't know what else they can do, and then they just have to wait out those contracts. It's gonna hope that Paul George opts out after next year, but I can't imagine it'll happen. So they're kind of screwed. But I don't know what else they can do. They've found themselves in this situation, absolutely self-made situation. Bob Sixers. But that's all I got for you guys today. Redbox, thanks again for calling in. You're welcome anytime. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.